Hey, you totally obsessed tennis player. Today we're going to be discussing going from a 4.0 to a 4.5 club doubles player. Is it possible for you? What we're going to do is we're going to investigate the difference between the two players and what it takes to get to that next level if you're not quite there yet. I like to start right away with the NTPR explanation of what a 4.0 can do versus what a 4.5 player can do. And then I'm going to go through what I see the differences are through over 30 years of coaching. So first it says the NTPR player demonstrates dependable strokes with directional control and depth on moderate pace shots and can effectively use lobs, overheads, approach shots, and volleys. And I think that's pretty good, although I think 4.0s can do a little more than moderate pace. They can do some fast pace. But let's get into what the NTPR says about the 4.5 player. The 4.5 tennis player, oh, B2's licking my screen and making it move. The 4.5 tennis player has dependable strokes with directional control, can vary game plans, and has begun to master power and spin while also beginning to handle pace and control depth of shots. So I think that's pretty good. So let's get into it. What's it going to take for you to get this trophy right here if you want to go to a 4.5? So the first thing that I like to kind of explain to you is that I think the 4.5 level, it's like an entry level black belt. One of the words here used, which you're not going to see on any other description up until you start to get into the 4.5 level, is the word master. And so I think that, yes, master is a key word when you get to that 4.5 level. They are going to be some of your better, if not the best tennis players at your club. And I find that these players usually fit into one of three buckets. I would love for you to kind of comment and let me know if you think that I'm right on with this or if you see it differently. But this is how I see it, okay? So they fit into three buckets. Number one is you have usually, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're this age, but I would say over 40, 50, even some players in their 60s and 70s, they're playing 4-5 tennis, but they're not really a 4.5 player, in my opinion. So what do I mean by that? They're usually at one point, they've dropped down to 4.5. They were more of an open player. They played 6.0 or 5.5 or 5.0 most of their life. They probably grew up with a tennis racket in their hand. They might have played some college tennis, may even played some low-level pros, but now they're older, they have injuries, they're getting a little slower, so their level has actually dropped down to a 4.5. Now, are they actually a 4.5 player? That's debatable. Is Rod Laver? Rod Laver probably, who knows what he could play. He wouldn't be playing club tennis at this point. But is he ever considered really a 4.5 player? Does that make sense to you? But since they still want to play tennis and they love tennis, they're playing league tennis and they realize, well, I can't play the way I used to play. I'm now a 4.5 player. So that's bucket number one. That's bucket number one you're competing against. And they can be pretty darn good. They just slow down a little bit. Bucket number two is those young hot shots who hit the ball so hard, and they are probably pretty good high school players, not amazing. They might have been mid-level junior players. Again, not top-level national players. They're not going to play high-level Division I college. Maybe they're playing Division III college, something like that. And that they're probably aged anywhere between 20 and 40 years old. And they just hit the ball really hard. They have a lot of just awesome looking shots, but they're probably a little erratic, which keeps them from being at that 5.0 to 5.5 level where they were to actually just play a little smarter, make more shots. They could probably walk onto a 5.0 or even 5.5 court, but something's kind of held them back their whole life from being able to put that together. That's why they never really achieved that high level of play. And then bucket number three, they are your workhorse. They got into the game, they got obsessed, probably fairly good athlete, and they moved up the ranks by just taking a lot of lessons, studying the game, and making sure that they built solid fundamentals and probably in pretty good fitness level as well. So what's it going to take for you if you're not in bucket number one, where you were just a rock star player when you were younger and now you've moved down to 4-5, or you weren't the high school player that was pretty good, had awesome shots, but not good enough to basically be a high-level junior player or play college tennis, and you're in bucket three, and you're like, yes, I'm going to have to work myself up so I can get on the court with bucket one and bucket two. What's it going to take? What's it like to play that level of tennis? So we're going to get into it right here. So if you're playing 4-5 tennis, this is the learning stage of acquiring skill and mastery over something. The first thing that you're going to have happen to you is you are unconscious and incompetent. It's like, I don't know what I don't know. And then all of a sudden you're told, well, this is the proper grip for the serve. Okay, this is the proper grip you must have for the serve. Like, okay, now I know that, but now I'm conscious of it, but I can't do it. I'm not competent. So then you work your way through and you eventually get conscious competence, which is where a lot of players are who are playing 3-5 or even low 4-0 tennis, is they're starting to go, okay, I can think about it and do it, but I really got to kind of be aware of it. I'm not aware of it. I'm not focused on it on a weekly, daily basis. I can lose this shot real easy. That's not really happening at 4-5 tennis. They're at the very edge, right? I look at conscious competence as a long runway, right? You can be in the beginning of it and you can do things, but you're having to think real hard. And then towards the end, where you're starting to get near mastery, you have to maybe think about it a little bit, but it's not making your head explode, and then you can do it. And then sometimes you push past that and you get into unconscious competence. That's pretty much where all the pros are, right? I mean, they don't have to think too much about their technique. They work on it all the time. They keep it finely tuned, but they're not having to really think their way through shots. And most 4-5 players are at that level to where they are at the very end of conscious competent and into unconscious competence. I think they kind of go back and forth between those two. They might every now and then have to really give themselves a little refresher course on basics and go through it because maybe their stroke falls off a little bit. But they're not going to have to think near as hard as somebody who is in development of their spins and their power and their grips. So if you want to get to play with the 4.5 players, you've got to really, really work through the meat level of conscious competence, that mid-level, to where I think a lot of people kind of get stuck because like, yeah, I can do it, and I just have to think about it a little bit, but I can do it. But they're not doing the work to get past that to where it's like they barely have to think about it, and the technique and the fundamentals are pretty solid. They're pretty correct. Most coaches are going to check it off for you and say, yeah, that's how you hit a topspin forehand. That's how you hit a nice looking volley. That serve looks pretty solid to me. And you're not having to think about it too much. That's what you have to get to. So the reason why this is so important, why you have to get to this level, is because when we get to 4.5, the play is going to be a lot faster and a lot more challenging. So muscle memory has to take over, and the reps have to be there, and smart decision making also has to be kind of on autopilot. That's what pretty good 4-5 players are able to do. They're able to react to a lot of different things coming at them. They can handle pace. They can handle sophisticated spins on a serve, whether it's a kick serve or a slice serve. They can read all this stuff. They can start to read shots are coming before they are hit. So you're going to need to get to this level of high conscious competence into unconscious competence and kind of be there as like that's your baseline, because you're going to have to make smart decisions on autopilot. And if you're having to think your way through shots and how it works and how you execute it, you are not going to survive on a 4.5 court. So if you're not currently there, you've got to work really, really hard on your fundamentals, doing so many shadow strokes, so many hand feeds, so many lessons, drills, just like eating, sleeping, dreaming, and if you're not there, it's going to take that amount of dedication, because remember, you're trying to get into the bucket you're trying to get into. Let me just go back a couple of, you're trying to get to this bucket to where you already have this person who's kind of mastered their whole life and they've actually sunk down a level. That's why they're playing with you, to somebody who was like a high school hotshot, but not like an extremely advanced junior. And now you're trying to get on the court with them. That's who you're trying to get on the court with. So it's going to take an extra level of dedication. So the things you're going to have to improve is you're going to have to improve your fitness, number one. Not necessarily that you are a marathon runner, but your reflexes are going to have to be fast and accurate, because the play is fast and accurate. At the net, things are going to move a lot faster. So this is mostly dedicated towards doubles players. So your doubles hands are going to have to be better, more efficient. You can't afford to be swinging at volleys. The technique has to be solid. Before we go on to my next little point of what you're going to need to become a 4.5 player, my buddy B2 here, he is dreaming of you liking this video. So when you like this video, I'm able to go out and buy him more toys and treats, right? So throw us a bone here. And it's also sponsored by a new challenge I'm coming up with, the 5-day Dominate Your Level Challenge. So make sure you sign up for that, because I'm going to show you, it's going to be level specific. It's a really cool interactive video the way I do it, to where if you're a 3.0, you pick your video of the day. If you're a 3.5, you pick your video of the day. If you're a 4.0, you pick your video of the day. So before we worry about going to 4.0, we've got to dominate our level. So if you're not currently dominating 3.0, 3.5, or 4.0, you want to sign up for this, because I'm going to give you the cheat codes to dominate your level. All right, back to this lesson. Okay, so since the play is much faster at 4.5, and it's a much more aggressive style of play, you are going to have to be comfortable serving and volleying. You don't have to serve and volley all the time, but unless you are absolutely amazing at the baseline, like you would have to have kind of 5.0 ground stroke to be able to fend off really good 4-5 players, their net attack. So if, let's just put, this is you, and you're not going to serve and volley, and these are your opponents. If they see that you consistently stay back, they're going to start to attack, especially on your second serve, and they're gonna pin you back here at the baseline, and then they're both going to get onto net. You see, I would say up until a pretty strong 4.0 level, it almost becomes a disadvantage to have 2 up, because people can't close and finish out points. But when it gets to a 4.5 level, the people who get both people up, and if they can keep one person back, now all of a sudden they have a big advantage in the point, where I can say at 4.0, especially 3.5, 3.0, that's not the case. Lots of times when 2 people get up, they just get lobbed, they get passed. That's not going to happen anymore. They're going to come up. They know how to hit good approach shots. They know how to exploit this person back here, and then usually pick on the person who's short. So it's important that you are very comfortable serving and volleying, so you and your partner can be the first 2 in and up, and hopefully get this person somewhere stuck in no man's land as they're on their way up to kind of counter you coming in, and then you can put the ball away at this person, or maybe they pop it up and then you can finish the point there. So that is why you want to start working on your serve and volley game if you are a 4.0 player. You see, you'll probably see, well, I see some, 4-5 tennis and the person staying back. Yeah, again, that's probably because they were in bucket 1 or bucket 2 and their ground strokes are already like 5.0 level. But for you to be able to be on the 4-5 court, you're probably not going to be able to develop those 5.0 strokes as easy as you could getting comfortable with serving and volleying, okay? Another thing, since so much of the play is going to be focused up here, okay, now your hands are going to have to be much faster, and when you get lobbed, you're going to have to be more and more comfortable, even here in no man's land, being able to hit offensive overheads. I have said in so many videos, hey, when the ball goes back here, if you're playing 3.0, 3.5, or 4.0 tennis, don't make a mistake there. Just push it back and play. You can even do that sometimes at 4.5, but a lot of times when you come back here, and if you have your feet under you, you need to be able to hit a strong overhead to do that. You also have to be better on defense. You have to learn how to go from neutral offense to defense really fast. Things are going to happen really, really fast out there. So that's what it's going to take to get to that 4 or 5 level. So here are my final points that you need to really focus on. Number one, get a dependable serve that gets into high conscious competence or even unconscious competence where you're not thinking about it and you are in the continental grip and accelerating, especially on your second serve, you need full acceleration. You're going to have to get better at returning fast and sophisticated serves, balls that kick, balls that slice, balls that are near 100 miles an hour, or even past 100 miles an hour. You're going to have to be really good at attacking in the midcourt and getting to the net. That's the name of the game. And when you get an overhead, you got to put them away. And when you are getting attacked, you got to be good at both you and your partner dropping back and throwing up some really good defensive lobs. So everything is a lot more offensive, a lot faster. And that's why my biggest advice to you is all your skills have to be at the very, very far end of conscious competence into unconscious competence. If you're still like in the middle of that learning process, you're not going to survive on a 4 or 5 court. Hopefully this lesson made sense to you. And again, if you want to dominate your level, I'm getting ready. It's going to start April 14th to do a dominate at your level training. It's going to be a 5-day training. It's going to be level specific. So it's not going to be this like one training package to where you're like, oh, well, this is how you dominate club tennis and I'm a 3-5 and I'm getting this stuff that's geared towards a 4-0 or 4-5. No, it's like if you're a 3-0, I'm giving you your 3-0 lesson. This is how you dominate at 3-0. You've got it. I know everybody wants to be a 4-5, but you got to dominate your level first. You got to earn the right to go to that next level so then you can go to the next level. So I'm going to show you how to dominate 3-0. I'm going to show you how to dominate 3-5. I'm going to show you how to dominate 4-0. Once we get to all those levels dominated, then we can think about the 4-5. Let me know what you think about this video. Give it a like, and we'll see you on the next video.